because you're not including the people.
Take a moment, Anders. I think Jack had a critique of John.
Go ahead, Jack.
No, I was just saying that the thing you have to understand about John is that he's completely unprincipled, right, in what he'll endorse. It's the only motivation is, does it support theism or doesn't it, right? So whenever he makes a claim, it could be true, right? But if it is, that's just a coincidence, because the only reason why he believes it is because it supports Christianity. So, he's making this bold claim that they've established a causal link between theism and, I don't know, human happiness or whatever it is.
Specifically religion, Jack.
Yeah, religion. As opposed to merely establishing a correlation, right? Now, there's just no reason whatsoever to believe that because John has said it, right? And you should just ask him to explain to you how the causal link was established.
Right.
Because, when we've done this with John many times before, and it's turned out, to just be absolute garbage.
I'll tell you what, I'll send the study to Rob. How about
absolute garbage. I mean, this was a person who was trying to deny that the primary cause of religious belief was childhood indoctrination, right? And it was the most laughable thing we ever saw, him trying to deny this, and we went and looked at the numbers, and it was just a joke, right? So whenever he tries to cite some study, you should go and look at the study, because when he starts boldly proclaiming things like this, 9 times out of 10, it just turns out to be complete nonsense.
So in any case, thank you for your opinion, Jack. Thank you for your opinion, Jack. But if you want the actual studies, I sent it. I sent it to Rob. He can post it up. You can look for yourself as if I'm properly representing the study or
but why don't you just
plural,
tell us,
actually, or not.
Tell us to your understanding how the causal link was established.
Yes, it talks about how society
I'm asking you
together.
To tell us how they distinguish.
I am telling you. You just interrupted me.
Go ahead, tell us.
You asked the question, and then you interrupted me as I'm actually answering your question. Do you realize that?
Yeah, so tell us how the causal link is established.
Yes, that was your question that I was answering when you cut me off, and now in the process of me answering your question. Now, according to the study itself, from what I recall, it talks about how studies work together and how there's an apparency of being inefficient and wasting time, but they're showing that despite prayer and religious devotion and things like that, the productivity of these societies, because of the communal aspect of working together as a society, serve to benefit their survival. That's the causal relationship that they're talking about.
Nope, you flunked. Nope, that was just repeating the claim of a correlation. You flunked. And not only did you flunk in not answering my question, right, but you repeatedly, right, said you were answering my question. You interrupted me several times to say, oh, I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. Oh, you interrupted me when I was answering your question. And then, of course, you didn't answer the question.
Maybe to your satisfaction.
No, you didn't explain to us, right, how they establish that there's a causal link over and above any correlation.
Yeah, Rob already posted the study there. You guys can look for yourself to see if they're simply mentioning correlation, or if they're actually asserting causation.
Doesn't matter whether they're asserting it or not. I'm asking how do they establish it?
You can look at it yourself. Why would you ask me?
You're the one who's saying that they established it. Why don't you tell us?
I already did.
No,
and you didn't. Not satisfied.
No, you didn't. You merely repeated the claim that there was a correlation.
So in other words, I answered your question to the best of my ability. If you're not satisfied, tough cookies. There's the actual study up there, and you tell me what's wrong with it.
I'm not going to look at this study.
The problem, John, is that you're giving.
No.
The point is, the whole issue is totally uninteresting, right? Even if it were true, right? that religion,
with their no causal
even
link.
if it were true that religion fostered human happiness, right? You wouldn't have any good reason to be a Christian. I mean, no epistemic reason to be a Christian. And that's the key point. You don't have any justification whatsoever for your belief that the Christian God exists, right? Your worldview is completely contradictory.
Is that an appeal to ignorance,
over
Jack?
and over again, and yet you never tire of reasserting.
Can you justify your claim that I have no reason?
Now, who's over talking who now?
Can you justify your claim that I have no reason? Is it an appeal to ignorance, Jack?
We've been over this before.
You said I have no reason. That's a claim. Can you support that claim that I have no reason?
I don't need to support it.
Oh, so you can just make unsubstantiated claims and demand other people support their claims. I see the double standards here.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
But John,
Look,
just to
here's
finish
a
off the other one
challenge
that
for
you said.
you, John Lee. Right? Do you have a justification for your belief?
It's a red herring and a tukoke on top of that. So now logical fallacies are flowing. You've made claims. You've been asked to substantiate it. Now you want to ask questions.
Did I make an argument?
It's kind of like when Jay Robbins backed into corner.
Did I make an
God
argument?
does not exist because.
Did I make an argument?
Yeah, well,
John?
you made a claim. You said
Sorry.
You said that I have no reason.
Sorry.
I asked you to justify that claim.
Sorry.
And now.
Sorry. So the question is, did I make an argument? That's a yes or no question.
So now you have the mods muting me, and because
I didn't do anything.
You said I have no reason.
Anything.
You said I have no
reason.
reason.
So I'll repeat the question. Did I make an argument? Yes
you
or
made
no?
a claim. Why would you?
Sorry.
You made a
yes
claim.
or no question. Yes or
Did
no
you
question.
make a claim? Yes or no?
Yes or no question.
Yes or no? Did you make a claim?
I'll repeat the question. Did I make an
Question
argument?
number one, did you make a claim?
Sorry.
Question number two, did you substantiate your claim? Question number three, were you asked to justify your claim? Yes to all three. Yes to all three.
Sorry. Yeah. So did I make an argument?
You did not make an argument. You failed to substantiate your claim.
Sorry. So the answer is no. Right, so therefore I wasn't guilty of any fallacy.
Meaning is just truth conditions, John, so don't overtalk him.
He's actually overtalking
John,
me.
you can just...
Unless you're a moderator, you have no business in these type of affairs.
John, just claim God exists. If you claim that, you don't need to make an argument for it.
I mean, it's unbecoming of you to be licking his balls like this, Darth.
Ugh. Hey, John, can you send me a link? The one up top, when I click on it, tries to get me to go to a Zoom. Can you send me the link?
I thought I gave you the link. Let me see what happens.
No, you gave it to Rob. I'm just saying what he posted brings me to Zoom, which is not, I'm assuming.
It's like a download.
The funny
download
thing,
of a document.
Funny thing is that even if we grant John that study, that's still consistent with there being no causal link, right?
It's not even a controversial subject.
I mean, you failed to defend it because when you were asked to justify your belief, all you did was just repeat the claim about such and such about the stuff. So why should anyone take you seriously when you say that you're justified holding to that?
My claim is simple, okay? Is that historically religion has served to benefit the survival of the human species, quote unquote. These are not my words. These are actually word for word what these scientists, evolutionary biologists, anthropologists are claiming. They have peer-reviewed journals for these separate studies. Now, what my separate claim is for me, my other claim would be there is no reason to think that religion has suddenly in the 21st century become a vestige of an ancient human past that we no longer need for our societies to thrive and survive.
But number one, that's consistent. Even if we grant you that, that's consistent with there not being any causal link. Rich, you made the claim earlier that there was a causal link, but I don't see how those empirics that you cited are going to count in favor of you holding to that belief. And number two, we can grant you everything in that study, right? That doesn't show that somehow you're justified in believing that Christianity is true.
Oh no! I already mentioned several. My only point in citing these studies, Darth, has nothing to do with arguing for the existence of any God, whether it's the intuitiveness of babies, the dualism, the predispositions to believe in God. None of these are meant to support the view that God exists. However, what they do achieve is to refute the various myths that are prevalent in the atheist community regarding the growth of atheism, the benefits of atheism, and things like this.
I don't see.
This
Yeah,
was not a study.
the myth that childhood
This was not a
indoctrination
study,
is
John.
the primary
Right.
cause for
It
religious
doesn't cite
Religious
any
growth. That
sources.
is correct. That is
It
a
doesn't
myth,
have any
Jack.
numbers. It's got nothing. This is not a study. What?
It
How do you think that this is a study?
references studies. There might be links as well.
The fact that John
It
would
doesn't
still
have
say
any
that
links
is just,
or references.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
like it says it's from the St. Louis Dispatch.
Look, dude,
St. Louis Post Dispatch from 2007. It's like a newspaper
the
thing.
thing is, the thing that John doesn't realize is that even if we grant the study for what it's worth, right, it still doesn't get him to like any sort of good reason or any sort of praiseworthiness for his belief that Christianity is practical.
That's correct. That's not my purpose for bringing these studies out.
Yeah.
The
So
purpose,
what is
because this is a response to what Anders was saying earlier about religious adherence being some sort of detriment in his view, right? This is purely his opinion. It's not. There's not even correlation to what he's even talking about, right? He might bring up what Jim Jones or Branch Davidians or Westboro Baptists or something, something that represents like 30 people out of 2.2 billion people. Those anecdotal examples do not demonstrate that there is some sort of harm caused by religious adherence.
It doesn't even like somehow count in favor of your belief that secular societies do worse.
That's
so
not,
like what?
Well, the secular societies do worse. Religious societies, according to that, it was 400% over secular societies.
Yeah, but you're not
as far as survival goes.
You're not answering what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is from all corners I've just presented to you, you don't have any good reason to believe that Christianity or just theism in general is more practical or beneficial to society than secularism, right?
Well, I'll
Because
tell
I
you
just
what.
attacked those four corners and you failed to respond.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm not here to argue for the existence of God or why the atheist ought to believe in God or why theism is superior in a sense. That's not what I'm here for.
That he could argue for it because he has good reasons to believe it, right? But then, when he's challenged to provide those justifications, what he says is, "Oh, no, you have the burden of proof because you're the one who said
No, I
that
don't say that. That's a misrepresentation. I don't say atheists have a burden of proof.
Right, that the reason why he resorts to that ploy is because he can't justify his belief.
Now, as far as justification for my belief, I will say this, right? According to 1 Peter 3:15, I do give people the reason why I have the hope that I do, right? However, I will also add further to say I can give you my reason and my justification all I want till the cows come home, but it cannot provide, my reasons cannot be a substitute for your lack of reasons, right? And so it doesn't really matter in a sense that
his reasons can't be a substitute for your lack of reasons.
Right.
What the hell does that even mean?
So in other words, if I know the taste of a particular fruit, let's say a tropical fruit, a rare tropical fruit, and I know this and I have justification for my knowledge and the taste of this fruit, my giving you the reason, like I flew to Southeast Asia and I tried this fruit, giving you the reasons why I know this cannot provide you reason to know it for yourself, know the taste of the fruit yourself. You need your own experience. Therefore, even if I provided you reasons and justifications for why I believe in the God of the Bible, it is not designed to provide reasons for your lack of reason.
No. We're not interested in you explaining to us what it's like to have religious belief, right?
No, we're talking about why I believe, Jack.
Yeah, we're asking you to explain to us, right, what justifies the belief.
That's right. The
What is the
experience, the
answer to that? What
preponderance
is
of
the answer to that
experiences,
question?
the consistency of the preponderance of experience, and the coherence of the set of beliefs provide epistemic justification for my belief that the God
You're
of the
just
Bible exists.
saying that it's justified, right? We're asking you to lay out the justification.
I just did. I
No,
can
you
get
just
into
said
more
you had
specifics.
justification for it.
I
We
did.
want you to lay
Yeah,
out what the
right,
justification is. Take us through it step
right.
by step.
We're talking about epistemic justification. We're talking
Yeah,
about
epistemic justification.
there's
Yeah.
various
So just
theories,
take us
right?
through it.
And
Take us
I
through
as
it.
a coherentist, I
Point
would
to
appeal
if
to
if
the
if
coherence of the set of
if
beliefs.
it's an evidential
And I don't know why you're
argument.
over talking me now.
If it's an
Why are you
evidential
over talking me,
argument.
Jack?
If it's an
Why are
evidential.
you being
If it's
allowed to
an
over talk me?
evidential argument, cite the
So
evidence.
now you just want to
And
over talk me. Is
if
that what's
it's not
going on?
now, and if it's not an evidential argument, right? Give us the argument.
Arguments are not the reason why I believe in God. So why would I give you an argument if arguments is not the reason why I believe in God?
Wait, but hold on. You just gave an argument for why you're justified in believing in God. Didn't you just do that? But
Uh,
when we look exactly like what you just said I'm justified in believing in theism because I believe that I'm justified in believing in theism.
no,
You didn't actually
no. I
give an in you
I
didn't give an
actually
inference. You didn't give an inference as to how you would be justified. You just repeated the claim that you would be justified.
no.
So,
That's
well,
no. I didn't
how do
repeat my
you
claim.
infer?
I
How
may I
infer?
even
Look,
finish?
no,
May I
because
even finish? So
you
you're not going to let
interrupted.
me finish. I'll tell you
You,
what. If you mods are going to allow this persistently to prevent a proper conversation, I'm letting people finish. And they ask me a question. As soon as I'm answering, they interrupt me. Both Jack,
I
both
thought you were
both
standing.
Darth. Yeah, and you're still interrupting me. I was in the process of answering
I'm
your
not
question.
interrupting.
4
But
words in, you cut
the
me
one
off.
interrupting me. I was the one talking,
You
right?
asked the
So the
question,
point is,
then you
you
paused
can't.
for me to answer it. As soon as I started answering, you cut me off,
Why?
sir.
Why should I submit to your standards of how I should conduct a dialectic when you were simply asked the question, look, how is it the case that you could infer
Yes, it's very
from
simple. If you're going to interrupt me, I'm not going to answer you. Period.
so you're interrupting
Oh,
me again?
that's called John Lee, Last Man Standing.
No,
I s-
it's called trolling. It's called like basically over talking, interrupting. You ask a question, and if you don't shut up and you start to 3, 4 people talk in, I blame that on the mods themselves.
God, you're such an idiot. So the question is, how are you going to infer from the set of beliefs that you have that you are actually justified in
Why
believing
repeat
in
your
theism?
question when I'm already answering it and you're interrupting me?
You
You already
didn't.
repeated. Yes,
You
because you
didn't answer
interrupted
the
me,
question.
sir.
You didn't answer the question.
Yes,
You just
I
said that you
didn't
were
answer the
justified.
question because in the
You
process
just said,
of answering
look,
your stupid question, you cut
look,
me off
you
3
idiot,
different occasions, and
you
then you
idiot, you
snivel
idiot.
about me not answering your question
I
because
asked you.
the answer I did not. The
I
reason why I did not answer your question is
okay.
because your rude ass is interrupting me every time I'm answering your question. That is the reason why I was prevented from answering your stupid question.
You interrupted me because I was in the middle of laying out what I was saying. What I was
Yeah,
saying
you're
was is
delusional.
you see, now you're interrupting me again, Venus. So again, I'm asking you, how is it the case
Yeah, this
that
discussion's over.
how you're going to infer? Oh my God, how is it the case that you're going to infer from the set of
John
beliefs
Lee, Last Man
you have
Standing.
that you're justified?
Yeah, I'm my comment is to the mods. If you're going to allow this, if you actually think that Michael was not overtalked earlier, and that other theists are not continually overtalked in the rooms that you moderate, and that I'm not being interrupted now, then why even there's a reason why many theists refuse to come to your rooms.
John Lee, Last Man Standing.
I was reading, so I only heard part of the claim of the 400% increase for the religious. Were Can you say that stat again for me, John?
Oh, let's ask John Lee how he's justified first. I think that's more interesting.
Well, I was just curious because I was reading the study that was, I think he was talking about. I read the actual study, so I was just curious if he could repeat that. He'll never justify his belief, so that's just a waste of time.
But we know coming into the dialectic that he won't, right? And the thing with John Lee is that he's too stupid to realize that he's just getting cornered on every single point, right? Number one, we asked him for an inference as to how he would be justified. He just repeated the claim that he was justified. And second, all he did was just constantly interrupt and bitch about him getting interrupted when he's the one interrupting me when I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Oh yeah, he loves interrupting people.
Well,
and
what
then
a surprise
complaining
that
when
we
people
didn't
interrupt
get.
him.
What a surprise we didn't get John Lee's justification for his Christian belief.
Well, he doesn't have one.
Amazing.
Wait,
I'm
is that
literally given the
an argument
justification on
from
3 different
ignorance?
occasions.
Is that an
And
argument
then
from ignorance,
this is what
Jane?
happens all the time. Now
Is
you're
that an
interrupting
argument
me,
from
Jack.
ignorance, Jane?
You're
That he doesn't
interrupting me,
have
Jack.
one?
Okay, so
Is
may
that
I
an
finish?
argument from
So
ignorance, Jane?
see this, mods? You guys are just. I let Jack finish.
John Lee,
As soon as
last
I start
man
talking, did
standing.
you see it?
John.
Did you
Lee,
see him
last
get
man
triggered?
standing.
Am I the only
Last
one
man
imagining
standing.
this? Am I the only imagining that the feckless mods are allowing these
Yeah.
types of
So
interruptions
John Lee
to
is
happen?
complaining about mods rather than giving his justification for his Christian belief. What a surprise!
Basically, a question is asked. Every time I attempt to answer the question, I'm interrupted, and then the complaint is such that I did not answer the question. This is how convenient.
How much you want to bet we don't get his
You want to answer?
justification for his Christian
Now,
belief?
Rob,
Any
earlier
takers?
Jack had made a claim that I have no reason, right? Now he's asking me his justification. The important thing is, oh, really? That's a claim. Number one, he would not acknowledge that he made a claim. Number two, he was asked for justification. Number three, he did not provide justification.
Where do you get the
Right
idea
now,
I
you're
would not
interrupting me
acknowledge
again.
that I made
Do you
a
see
claim?
what I'm saying? You're
Where
continually
did you get
interrupting
the idea
me.
that I would not acknowledge that I
So
made a claim?
basically,
All
you're
I said
filibustering John
all I
Lee
said-
this and John Lee
where
that.
did
You want to
you-
bring up
where did
something
you-
about
wait a minute.
childhood
I
indoctrination.
actually have mute
You want to bring
power
up something
to
about
mute,
last
don't I?
man standing. This is
Do I
what
have
this
mute
is
John,
what the
power?
mods are
John,
allowing.
okay. All right,
Yeah,
all right.
I have mute power, so
I mean,
can...
Rob, I know you to be at least say.
Wait, so where did you get the idea, John, that I wouldn't acknowledge that I made a claim? It is a claim that you don't have justification.
I mean, someone's now
It is a claim
is that you,
you don't
Jack,
have a
muting me?
justification. It is me. It is a claim. It is a claim that you don't have justification for your belief, right? What I said was it doesn't need a justification, right? Because I'm not here to debate the question as to whether you have a justification for your belief or not, right? As if anybody here had any doubt, right, that you don't have such a justification. As if we hadn't been over it all so many times with you, right, where you've dodged, right? As if there was any doubt in anybody's mind that if you had a good justification that could knock us all down, you wouldn't produce it in an instant, right?
I can produce it in an instant.
That's not the issue, right? But of course, if we ask you what's your justification, what we're going to get is a lot of complaints about moderation.
Unbelievable.
Right? But we're not going to get the justification, right? So now I'll unmute you, right? Or you can unmute yourself, right? And then you can complain about moderation some more, rather than give us the justification that you keep, rather than give us the justification that you keep claiming to have.
Right. And so once again, if you're asking for justification, there are many theories of justification in epistemology. There's evidentialism, there's foundationalism,
once again,
coherentism.
we're not getting
You know these things, Jack. Now you're interrupting me again.
Once again, we're not getting the justification. So rather than talk about theories of justification, let's hear the justification.
Are you guys going to allow this? I mean, there's other mods here. And so I personally hold to the theory of coherentism, and I would like to elaborate on coherentism as my claim of justification, epistemic justification for the belief that I have, right? And so coherentism, as many of you may know, deals with the coherence of the web of beliefs that we have, right? And so when it comes to experience, right, it is not based upon one experience. It is based upon a preponderance of experiences. And just like experiments in science, right, we can't just rely on one experiment, but we have several experiments, and the consistency of the results provides the confidence or justification to believe that the results can be trusted, that they're reliable, and equally so, I would claim that the results of a preponderance of experiences based upon biblical guidelines and biblical claims with regard to all sorts of my life, it would be over a period of decades that provides an ever-increasing confidence for my belief in God, and that would be the not just the reason why I believe, but the justification of my belief.
Yeah, but that's not telling us, right, what the experiences are and how it is that they confirm the hypothesis. That's just saying that there are experiences that do so. We're not interested in that.
So I gave you a framework, right? If you want the details, that would be one step further. However, I gave you the framework.
Yeah, we keep asking you for the detail.
And here's another thing. He said that, it's justified in virtue of the fact that it's coherent. Well, I mean, under your view, you just take coherence.
That's correct. That's correct.
You take coherence to mean justification, but that's the thing in question.
I do. Do you object to that?
We're asking you, how is it coherent, and how are those other things that you're talking about in virtue of your experience, right? What are the details, and how do those things count in favor of you holding to that?
And right? I gave you, like I said, all I did was give you a framework. So far, do you object to that, or do you just simply want details now? The question is not whether you. The question is that an acceptable framework so that we can, or is an objection to that justification, or because if there is, we don't even need to go into the details. But if the framework that I've outlined for you as far as my epistemic justification is valid, then we can go into the details.
Yeah, but you never. Why are you
talking? So my question is, do you agree that the framework that I outlined sans the details, right, is it an acceptable justification for a person's beliefs?
I wasn't done. Look, it doesn't matter what the framework is. We're just asking you what the inference would be as to how you think your beliefs are going to count in some sort of praiseworthiness for you holding to those.
So it's either the case that coherentism is an acceptable form of justification, epistemic justification, or it is not acceptable to you.
Why are you asking me questions, right? We're asking you what the inference would be.
Because
you didn't give an inference.
Because if it's not acceptable to you, then there's no reason to go into the details. The question would be, is coherentism an acceptable justification epistemologically?
Why does that even look? I'm just asking you what the inference would be as to how you would know that your beliefs are justified.
It's not a matter of knowing, it's a matter of having a theory of justification. People had different, there's no universal justification.
Oh my God. Look,
right?
You said we're talking about epistemic justification.
Correct.
Of course.
But there are many theories of justification. You do understand that.
Oh my God, you're so stupid. Of course it has to do with knowledge, right? So we're just asking you what the inference would be as to how you would know that you're justified over your beliefs.
Well, as Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge.
Okay, so then you're just admitting that you're not epistemically justified then.
Now, I will go on to further say, although Christianity is a faith, it is both a faith and an acquaintance knowledge of God. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but look, this talk about acquaintance knowledge is irrelevant because you didn't acquaint us with any details about these like statements that you were making about people's experience, right? So why would we think that your silly beliefs are just going to count in favor of you being justified over them.
No one's asking you to accept
If you can't even give me the details, right, in what sense are your beliefs going to be praiseworthy, right? We're just asking you what the justification would be, and you didn't provide an inference.
Right. And so what I did was I provided you an outline for my justification. Did I give you details? No, I did not yet. Right. However, what I am saying and what I have been saying, I can give you my reasons, my justification, all I want. No one says you have to agree with them. No one says that that provides some sort of a basis for you to believe as I believe. In fact, it is my claim that it cannot provide you the basis for you to believe just because I give you the reasons why I believe. So if I were to give you the reasons, it would only be to provide you information, and you can take it or leave it as to why I believe. Now, if you think that I'm giving you these reasons for you as a basis for you, you're actually interrupting me right now. Are you even listening to you are interrupting me by saying you're interrupting me. And if these mods, once again, if you're going to pretend that he's not interrupting me and I'm interrupting him, then why would I further the conversation, Rob?
I let you finish. Look.
No, you did not let me finish, sir. You interrupted me. You interrupted me to tell me that I'm interrupting you, which is a laughable proposition.
Oh my God. The point is, look, you're not epistemically justified because you just admitted that you go it on faith and not on knowledge.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all.
And number two, that's exactly what you said. And number two,
no, that's not what I said.
You quoted Christopher Hitchens and said it's not knowledge.
Oh my God.
I quoted Christopher Hitchens, Jane, to say that faith, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. But then what was my very next sentence? I said Christianity is both a faith and a knowledge. That's what I said, Jane.
Oh my God, you retard. That's just an admission that you're not epistemically justified over your beliefs, right? And second of all, when you failed to provide what the inference was for your beliefs, all you did was just repeat the claim that your beliefs were coherent. We're asking you how. What would be the inference that would make it so that your belief in those things being coherent is actually justified? We're asking you what the inference would be. You failed.
Modus ponens. What else? I mean, they're just.
That's a rule of.
Is that what you want? You want the premises?
I'm asking you, what set of reasons would you give that would count in favor of?
Now you asked me for the reasons are not inferences. Okay, so you asked me for the inference. I gave you modus ponens. Now you have an issue with that. Now you want to snivel some more.
I'm not asking you for a rule of inference. I'm asking you what the reason would be. Right? I'm not asking you for a rule of inference, dumbass. So again, what would be the inference as to how you know your beliefs?
Yes, the result.
Those things being coherent is justified. What is the inference?
The results of my experiences are consistent with biblical claims. Therefore, it's reasonable for me to believe in the veracity of biblical claims, inclusive of the Christian God.
So again, Jack just explained to you that that's just a repetition of the claim. You didn't provide any reasons that was going to count in favor of you holding to that belief.
The consistency of the results is a reason.
That's you repeating the conclusion of your argument. So
no, it's not. That's a reason.
You have to give an argument that would provide some sort of corroboration.
Yes, consistency of results is a justifiable reason.
Don't jump in. Holy shit. What you need to do is to provide an argument that clearly lays out in premises and conclusion form the reasons that would count in favor of your conclusion. And all you did was give me the conclusion as one of the premises. So why would I have any reason to believe that your question? Why would I have any reason to believe that your question?
I'll give you an argument.
Why would I have any reason to believe that your question-begging nonsense counts as justification?
So I'll give you a simple syllogism, right? If the results of the consistencies of biblical claims happen, it is reasonable to believe that the God of the Bible is true. There is a consistency of reasons, a consistency of results in the experiences. Therefore, it is reasonable for me to believe that the God of the Bible is true. Is that
See,
sufficient
but
for
when
you?
you no, it's not, because if you conclude that it's reasonable to believe that the Christian Bible or whatever the fuck you said is true, right? And you want to give a reason for that that's just going to depend entirely upon the consistency. You didn't give any reasons for why there's such a consistency. To
That's
be clear,
right. 'Cause-
you didn't give details, right? You didn't give any sort of inference as to how you would know there would be such a
Right.
consistency.
And
So
that would be premise
I'm asking
two. We can go
I'm
over the
asking you
details
right
of premise
now.
two. What the claim is,
I'm
the premise two is there is a
asking you
consistency
right
in
now
the
what the
results of my
difference is.
experiences, right?
I'm
And so
asking you right. Oh my! Is someone gonna mute this fucking monkey? I'm asking you right now what the inference would be, dumbass. I'm asking you right now.
one of the claims of the Bible is about abiding in the vine and bearing fruit, right?
Why would
And
anyone care? Why would
or
anyone
you
care
want to
about?
interrupt me again? I'm literally, I don't know how many times you're going to overtalk me.
Why would
You asked
anyone
me a
care?
question. I was in the process of
Why would?
answering your question.
Why
5,
would?
10
Why?
words in, you're
Why?
interrupting me.
Why
You're so
would anyone
triggered.
care
Like
about
it,
that nonsense? Why would anyone
so in
care
other
about that
words,
nonsense?
if you're going to ask a
How would you?
question,
How?
you're either
Uh,
patient to listen
Shut
to
the
the answer
fuck
or
up!
not,
Shut up!
right?
I'm
And
asking you.
so in other words, you're
Asking
trying to
you. I'm
control the.
asking you
You're
what the
listen.
inference
Boss,
would
I'll tell
be,
you what. I'm going to
dumbass.
disengage. Because you're not well behaved. You're rude. You're over talking, and I'm not going to persist in having this type of a discussion.
Why the fuck would I care about if I'm being rude to you or not? You didn't provide any reason for why I should believe that your stupid claims are justified. You just repeated the claim that they were consistent. That's the thing in question, dumbass.
And that's what I was answering until you rudely interrupted me.